And we started something that was listening to our audience.
This
Because we
was
don't listen that.
this was one of the crazy parts that when I heard you talking about this part. I love this actually, because it's when you explained it, when I heard you explain it the first time, it was so simple and so straightforward. It kind of took people off guard. They're like, wait a minute, how do I do that? And you're like, just so go talk, please talk about
You know,
that.
sometimes as a professional, you love what you have in your mind because you know your stuff. So you're in love of your science, you're in love of your message, you're in love of what you want to do. But you don't listen to the people and their needs and what they want from you. So, yeah, I was making that mistake because I was talking from the professional point of view, but not like, okay, hey, I'm a mom and I'm a disaster as well. And I am like you, you know? And sometimes I feel tired and sometimes I feel this, and that. And I started to connect with the audience. And when people connected with me, I started to build trust. So that was really important. And from that day on, I kept on posting things that were r- relatable from them and also relevant for my audience.
So you went from being, the way that I think about this, you kind of went from being the professor that comes down from on high and shares all these wise things to being a practitioner. I'm one of you, and I've learned some things. So I understand your language. I'm speaking your pain points. Like I know you because I am you, and let me share some things. That's kind of what you're describing, right?
Exactly. I'm not only know you, I live inside your head because it's my head. So I know what you're suffering, you know? I know what you don't tell anyone in silence at night, you know? So I had this voice and I will speak for you. That was our first, like, yay, you did it right. And I don't know, maybe a couple of months later, we had 10,000 followers and then 100,000 followers in the first year. But we didn't know how to make those followers buy us.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I said, okay, you liked what I share. You like our blogs because by that time it was only blogging, in Facebook. There was no streaming. There was no anything, no videos, no audios, no anything. And I remember like, hey, we're going to have this event. Would you like to come? No, thanks. Why? You liked our stuff. Why
So
don't you come?
where were you all? Are you still kind of the same financial struggle at this point? You're putting out content. Are you doing any better? Because I'm wondering how that feels. So you're building this thing, and part of the reason you're building this thing is because you need to free up some of that financial strain, and you're getting some momentum here. And so now you push like, okay, here, this will work. And it doesn't. How did that feel? And how do you keep going?
It was frustrating. I had a couple of more clients because, like 3 or 4 people wanted to have therapy with me, but it was not that much. So it was pretty scary at that time. But,
Yeah.
I have something, and it's like I believe in myself and I believe in the process. And my husband does too. So we were a great team because when I was in doubt, he said, hey, no, come on. And vice versa. We were like a great team at that time. Well, we still are, but that was good. And the first time we started selling something to that audience, the audience reacted and they say, why are you selling me something if you're giving for free your advice? So I don't
Interesting.
want to buy from you. We were so frustrated. We were, yeah, like, now what? We didn't know there's a way. And there's strategies, tons of strategies, but we didn't know at the time. But we found our first mentor. That was a good thing. And he taught us many things and we started applying them. And I remember it was like a lunch because it was not a lunch. We did many mistakes at that time. I mean, we did something weird, like a Frankenstein. But at that time, we had our first opening the doors with the marketing strategies that we got at the beginning. And we got 100 clients in 1 week.
Oh, wow. What was
Then
different?
we
What was
said,
different? What was different?
we follow strategy. We didn't follow it the right way. You know, we made tons of mistakes.
But you had a
Tons.
plan, and somebody that helps you kind of craft a plan together. What was it about that? What was the particulars? Just even though you did it wrong, what were some of the things that stood out? There was a difference between what you had been doing and what you did that time.
Okay. The first part was that we film ourselves in video. We didn't even know how to record by the time. I mean, our equipment was pretty bad. I remember that. And we have team members in our company, like 4, and they didn't believe in what we were doing. So we didn't, they were like, no, we are not going to do that. You know, they were pretty nasty at the time. Like, they were tired of our trying to do something good, you know? They didn't believe in the process as well. So we record 3 lessons. My husband and myself were doing that lessons, and we delivered those lessons like in a week. They had a specific components, mental triggers, and things that we had to say in that videos, and they worked. They worked beautifully. I mean, 100 students for the first time in our lives. It was like, okay, there must be something. So I remember that day that we started like, okay, let's commit.